After leaving Lytton, we continued our journey on the historic Cariboo Road. Due to the thick smoke along the way, I didn't stop for views. You could barely see anything, and the air was hazardous. Once leaving the Fraser Canyon, our first stop, Ashcroft, BC.
Hey everyone, so I'm right now in Ashcroft, BC. So this is the first major town after Lytton. As you can see, the smoke situation did not improve here. And right now it's around lunchtime, so I'm gonna go grab some lunch.
While having lunch, I noticed that Ashcroft has a Chinese cemetery right next to the railway. Out of curiosity, I paid the cemetery a visit. Yeah, so I'm right now at the Chinese cemetery in Ashcroft. So basically, when Canada was constructing its transcontinental railway, they hired a lot of Chinese workers from overseas to do the work. Like in the United States, the Chinese workers were assigned the most difficult tasks, including building tunnels and exploding mountain areas. A lot of them never got go home by the end of the day. And like explained earlier, that since Ashcroft is the first major town you see after you get out of the Fraser Canyon, so this ideally became a place where in case there were any casualties while building a certain section of the Fraser Canyon railway, which was probably one of the most difficult sections of the entire railway. And this is where the dead workers laid to rest. And in case you do not know, one of the conditions for British Columbia to join Canada was that the Canadian government promised BC that if you join Canada, we're going to build the railway from Ontario all the way to BC. Yeah, eventually the railway was completed, and of course, as a result, we know that British Columbia became a part of Canada. I bet you didn't know that the Chinese workers played such an important role in British Columbia's history, eh?
So the problem with all this is that you think after the Chinese built the railway for British Columbia and Canada, they would receive high honors. But in the end, the opposite happened. So first, the Canadian government introduced the head tax that limits the number of Chinese people who can come to Canada, and eventually they did the Chinese Exclusion Act, which forbid the immigration of Chinese people to Canada. And this was in effect until after World War II.
While many of the tombstones only served as memorials to those who died nameless during the course of the construction, the Chinese community in the Ashcroft area continued to use this cemetery until the 1960s. I'm glad places like this in BC exist. And I think more people should come and learn about the Chinese Canadian community's contributions and sacrifices in building Canada, especially British Columbia. Further north from Ashcroft, we officially entered Highway 97, also known as the Caribou Highway. Actually, from there, we have officially entered the Caribou region. Our next stop, Lytton, British Columbia.
Yeah, so right now I'm in Lytton, BC, so this is just a small town on the historic Cariboo Road. Well, I can tell you so far, all the places I've visited so far, most of those so-called towns are more like tourist traps. I think there's anything that really drew my true attention so far, other than the historic Chinese cemetery at Ashcroft and the Heritage Village.
Lytton was like a town that came out of a Western movie. But the town itself wasn't really anything interesting and felt just like a movie set, at least to me. 20 kilometers north from Lytton, however, will actually make you feel like
you're in the Wild West.
So I'm right now at the Chasm Ecological Reserve. So many call this place Canada's answer to the Grand Canyon. And so the Chasm was formed, of course, as a U-shaped valley as a result of the melting glacier during the end of last ice age. And the reason why you see a lot of the stripes on the side of the wall, that was basically the work done by lava during the volcanic activities in this area. As a matter of fact, there is a forest fire burning inside the Chasm Ecological Reserve at the moment. You can tell that I'm riding action inside one of the forest fires. But you know what? No, I'm not gonna actually go approach the fire or film something like that. I would just hope, the forest fire situation can improve soon, because it is definitely causing problems to the environment, to people's lives. And of course, if you're traveling in this area, it's not gonna give you a good mood as a tourist, for sure.
As we continued our journey northbound in the Cariboo region, the smoke got even thicker. Following the Caribou Highway, we arrived at the motel I booked near 100 Mile House. It's very simple, but I got a room for around $90 for one night, including taxes. After settling down at the motel, it's time to explore 100 Mile House. Our first stop, a random place I saw on the map called the Centennial Park.
Yeah, so I thought the wildfire smoke is probably going to be a little bit better at 100 Mile House. But it turns out, it's not quite the case. The whole sky is red. It just looked like the Armageddon, that kind of sky. Well, I guess the legend of bad weather Sayu Rinpoche continues. Yeah, and of course, thanks for watching. And if you have enjoyed all the great adventures in all the bad weathers across Canada, please subscribe to our channel. Well, I have to say that other than the smoke, the natural environment in this park is awesome. What I really like about this park is that despite the fact that the entire region smells like a giant barbecue party, but when you approach the little creek and the forest, you don't smell anything, and the air smells so fresh, and the sound of the creek, just made me feel relaxed right away.
At the end of the trail, you see an impressive waterfall. Funny thing is that I think this park would have been on a tourist brochure for 100 Mile House, but I found this place totally by accident. I guess the locals want to keep the best just for themselves, eh? At that moment, I could imagine how beautiful this place must be when there's no wildfire smoke. From a distance, I thought there was a cross lying on the fall.
Upon getting closer, I realized there was just some broken branches that resembled the shape of a cross. Actually, it would be cool if this waterfall had some sort of miracle stories related to it, which I wouldn't even be surprised, considering how tranquil and healing the surrounding is. After spending some time at the Centennial Park, I had some salmon dinner at the local pub. Despite the color of the sky was quite depressing, the long summer days meant that even in a crappy condition like this, there is still loads of time we could use to explore 100 Mile House.
Yeah, so behind me over there, that's a pair of skis. I know Canada is home to a lot of world's largest something, like world's largest mosquito statue, world's largest moose statue, and I'm not sure if this is the world's largest ski. And of course, there's a reason why this place is called the 100 Mile House. Well, this is the 100th mile on one of the Cariboo roads. So this is the one that originates from Lillooet, BC, and from Lillooet to here, that's roughly 100 miles. Yeah, you can see the milestone right behind me, and indicates that so we're 100 miles into the Lillooet Cariboo Road. And yeah, if you count the Cariboo Road from Yale, where we started our journey, it'll be more than 100 miles.
Ow! What are you looking at, bro? One of the wagons that once traveled on Cariboo Road.
Beside the Tourist Information Center is a lake. Beside the lake, there is an airport and a curling center.
I'm not sure what kind of building this is. If anybody knows, please leave in the comment section and let me know.
On the landing strips of the airport, there were lots of tents. What were they doing there? Weren't they gonna block the aircrafts? At the entrance to the airport, I found out the answer. This airport now serves as the camp to firefighters combating with all that wildfire in the region, which also included a team of 100 firefighters all the way from Mexico. They just returned from a hard day of work, and some of them still had ashes from this ruthless fire on their faces. Thank you to all the heroes who were risking their lives to make our community safe. As the sun started to set, our adventure in 100 Mile House also concluded. In the next episode, we'll continue our journey northbound on BC's historic Cariboo Road. Stay tuned.
Today is really smoky, but I can totally imagine what a beautiful place this area can be.